I don't know why the wind. No, that was weird. The wind made me want to cry. Hello. That was weird. Hello. It's me. New glasses. Who dis? It's me. Oh. Hello. It's been a week since the last time I did this, so here we are, doing the review, as promised. I'm very proud of myself because I was this close to not doing it. Oh, there's a snail under here. Okay. So this is yeah. I was not feeling great this afternoon. Day started off really well, and I kept trying to remind myself. I've been trying to remind myself not to let a bad moment turn into a bad day, and so on and so forth, because I have a history of that, and this is me trying to do that. Let's not let it get worse. I just want to run through the grass, but this specific patch of grass right here is just covered in that plant that I don't know what it's called. I should probably look it up by now, but let's just call it poison ivy at this point. And that shit is itchy AF. I'm still itchy. So I checked, and they are actually called stinging nettles, not poison ivy or nettles. And they have a lot of medicinal properties, which is really cool. And also, people like to eat them in soup. So there you go. So I'm very uncomfortable. I don't know how to sit. I don't know how to be. I hope this isn't constantly hitting on my mic. Oh, whatever. Let's not overthink it. That's where my mind's at today. Anyway, so the past week, I was kind of going through all the previous chapters from the 1st to the 5th and reading through to recap, but also to see if anything comes up that I maybe didn't notice before. And there was a lot of that, actually, which was nice, which was also showing me that there's nothing wrong with going back and forth, and me beating myself up over not achieving this one week after the other is just dumb. I don't know if this is actually a good place to be sitting, because it just looks like everything is out of focus. And I'm wearing new glasses, so it's not my eyes. I chime in with the haven't you people ever heard of? Closing the goddamn door, no. Somebody posted a really smart. So yeah, I went through the previous chapters, and there are a couple of things that popped up that made me kind of go oh, yeah, I can see how that was what was happening. And a lot of it has, for me, I brought my notes this time. Oh, and I brought the book, The Artist. Why is it in reverse? Okay, that's too much to like deal with right now. In the last video, I was talking about how like when you disconnect from yourself for so long, it just feels like you're no longer in your body, and it's in a clinical sense, it's what they call disassociating, where you're kind of having an out-of-body experience. You're not like consciously living through your body. It's strange. And in this book, she talks about the creative self leaving the building and how interesting that is to me, because it just means that the creative self is the self. And I think that's cool. None of this is making any sense. Again, you don't have structure. Oh, I said I was gonna write some questions. Frick. I brought the wrong book. Does anyone else have like 500 journals and just like writes in random ones depending on which one feels right? With no apparent structure. Yeah. So okay, let's just be honest about what happened today. Let's be honest about what happened today. I woke up this morning actually way earlier than my alarm was set, and I set my alarm to like 8 every morning. But I woke up way earlier than that. Like the birds weren't even singing, but I just didn't get up to see what time it was. And normally in situations like that, it's either like a nightmare or just like this feeling of dread and panic. Whew. Luckily, this time that wasn't it. Actually, this time I woke up with ideas of what to do for today's video. It definitely wasn't this though. And because it was so early, I kept telling myself, just go back to sleep, and it's fine. Like, you'll write this in the morning when you wake up. No, you won't. You won't even remember any of this. And it felt really big. It felt really important. It felt valuable. And I let it slip away. That was this morning. But this past week was up and down. It was a roller coaster. I think after I shot last week's video, I second guessed myself, of course, as per usual, and I kind of told myself that the footage was shit and there was nothing concrete in it, and there was no point in editing it, and at the same time I just started kind of going through the chapters again and like rereading them. And yesterday in my morning pages, I had a really beautiful moment where I connected to this creative part of myself, which tends to only come out. I don't know if I should say this actually. That's my fear of losing all worldly approval. Hoopla. Yeah. Okay, so there's that too. Let me just read a quote from the book that I was like, yep. It says here, the act of making art exposes a society to itself. Art brings things to light. It illuminates us. It sheds light on our lingering darkness. It casts a beam into the heart of our own darkness and says, see. And I wrote a little, I love this at the bottom. Again, it's backwards. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I do love this because because I have an awareness of this, and also the type of thing that I want to be doing, which I don't know what it is, so that doesn't make any sense. It's just a feeling that I have, this feeling that I have of the thing that I want to be doing. So this life that I want to live, this way that I want to be, this expression is a very honest expression. And there's a lot of things in my life that I haven't shared, specifically with my family. And the reason for that is because I know that they're not going to approve. But a lot of those things that I am so scared to share are things that have shaped me, and things that I have grown from, that I have learned. And because of that, I feel so much shame. And that's kind of sad. It's also something that we're conditioned to feel young when we're younger. Like we I don't know about everybody's experience growing up, but you can shame a child for acting in a certain way that embarrasses you in public, for example. And you carry that with you. And as children, all they know is to be who they really are. And so when you shame them for being who they really are and telling them that this is embarrassing, you're embarrassing me, it creates so much shame around who they are. I carry a lot of that with me still, and I'm trying to release that. So that became apparent in my pages this week. I think when I read this the first time, it made sense to me and I connected to it, but I think what it did was also allow me to feel the shame even more intensely, if that makes any sense. And I think I got stuck in the loop in my mind where I was just still shaming myself for wanting to be this way, for wanting to just be. Even like reflecting back on my experience so far up until this point, from when I started, I have been so creative and so expressive. And what's funny is that even like the content that I've been making, or the art that I've been making, I was so embarrassed even while making it, because I just kept thinking like, oh my god, if my family sees this, I can hear it already. عيب عيب عيب. But it's real and it's how I feel, and yeah. Yeah, I was so like afraid to show it, and I still feel that way. I still feel like, no, I'm not ready to share that just yet. And it takes me into another point that she discusses, like being stuck in this virtue trap where you're constantly being nice, being kind, being supportive to the people around you, but at the same time betraying your true nature for worldly approval, for everybody else's comfort. And I think that's the main reason why I haven't been able to share what I've been making just yet. But we're working on changing that. This is the whole point. We're getting there slowly. Very, very, very slowly. But it's okay. It doesn't matter like how long it takes me to get there. The point is that I'm consistently trying to do that every day. So the thing that made me feel Like I froze. And I'm reading like 3 books at the same time right now. 2 of which are books that require a lot of time and reflection. The Artist's Way being one. The other is How to Do the Work, by Dr. Nicole LePera, I think her name is. And that book is incredible, but it's also so intensely revealing. So I've been learning a lot about childhood trauma and what it means, how it affects you, the types of trauma responses that you cultivate, I guess, in order to like keep yourself safe, like coping mechanisms that you use to keep yourself, or that your inner child uses to keep itself safe. And for me, I'm definitely 100% a freeze person. And I think I do have a little bit of fight with specifically only one person in my life. I'm sorry, mama. But it's mostly freeze most of the time. And today was extremely triggering for me, because I'm at a point now where I'm starting to feel more comfortable getting in touch with the part of myself that wants to make money. And making money is a really big topic for me, where it holds a lot of, like, there's just a lot of baggage there. So maybe that needs its own video. But I'm starting to, like, I've been processing this, and I think that was the reason why it took me so long to be able to, one of the reasons why it took me so long to be able to get to this point where I'm ready to move on to the next chapter, which just so happens to be about money. Ding, 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 ding. So yeah, I started trying to look up job opportunities as a creative, according to what the world labels as important qualifications to get a job. I don't necessarily have those because of the path I chose, because of my educational experience. And so when I was looking through for things that I'd actually be really interested in doing, I got really overwhelmed because they kept asking for things I didn't have to give. And I was just like, okay, what about heart? What about enthusiasm? What about like just general passion? No, those things. Yeah. So it threw me off. And my ego kicked in full drive to try and protect itself again. We're gonna call her Zoo, and sometimes she can be Debbie doubts a lot. And this was one of those moments, except she was extremely vicious with me today, that like it felt like she took all of the progress that I've made up until this point and like just like shat all over them. So I did what I normally do, and I froze, and my partner, bless him, tried to get me out of it. And sometimes I feel like he believes in me way more than I believe in myself, and it's kind of wild, and I'm very grateful for that. But I couldn't hear anything he was saying to me, and I think it was just a response to just be like, yeah, you're right, I agree, yeah. But there was like nothing coming through my mind at that time. And And I think he recognized that and he held me. And then he wrapped me up in a blanket, like a big giant burrito. And that was really nice. And so I remained a big burrito for at least 2 hours. And then I decided no more. I'm going to put my war paint on and my armor, and I'm going to do this thing that I said that I was going to do. And so here I am. Today was hard, but overall this week, there were big moments for me. I went swimming yesterday, and I feel like, oh, fuck, it was so hard. I thought I was gonna drown. It's been so long since I've been like strenuously physically active like that. And it really feels like the wind is giving me a hug. And anyway, and I reached the point where I really thought I was gonna drown. But I kept pushing and I kept pushing, and something really interesting happened where my body shifted into my experience of the world shifted from within my body. And I noticed how before that it had been completely external. Like I was just looking at everything from an outside perspective. I was so conscious of everyone around me, judging me, making judgments about me, about my body, and about my inability to swim without gasping for air and swallowing half the pool. But when the shift happened, I kind of surrendered into my body. And it was like, why are you like pushing yourself this much? It's not about how fast you do this. It's about how long you can do this for. So like, take it easy and be nice to yourself. And it became way more pleasant, and I was less focused on like, oh my god, how much time has it been? I'm so tired. And more like, what does the water feel like between my toes? How is my body moving? What does it feel like to be in the water again? Yeah, so that to me was really cool. I'm really looking forward to next week because I see like this initiative to want to start looking for jobs and wanting to start looking for what options I have out there that are going to pay. Because in this world that we live in, unfortunately, money is important. It just is. It's a tool to be able to achieve other things, and I need that tool. There's no denying that. And I'm trying to get rid of this struggling artist mentality that I have to be poor in order to be a successful artist, or to be an artist that didn't like sell my soul. And the fact that I had that initiative to do that with myself means that I'm ready. I'm ready for this next stage. And so I'm excited. Tomorrow is the beginning of the next chapter. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see how it makes me feel. I don't know if all my videos are going to be this long. I don't think they should. But as soon as I start talking, it's like I don't stop. I can go on and 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 on. Oh, don't tell me I've been recording this whole time with a dirty lens.